So, everybody, this is David, and I shall leave him to introduce himself because he's so good at it.
Hi. Yes, I'm David. You probably know me by now, hopefully. And I created Yoga4Autism 2.5 years ago because I'm actually on the spectrum myself. I was given the label of Asperger's, dyspraxia, and dyslexia, so a bit of a hybrid really. And I spent a lifetime trying to find things that would help me. Nothing really worked. All basically the doctors could prescribe was antidepressants and anti-anxiety tablets and sleeping tablets and things that just cover up the symptoms rather than addressing the cause. And then one day I thought I'd try yoga at a gym, and then that completely transformed my life, and it just completely basically melted my symptoms away. The more yoga I did, the better I felt. But then I saw other people still struggling, so then I created Yoga4Autism to want to help other people, because it wasn't quite that known then really. And still it's kind of getting more known. It's starting to be proven that how much yoga really benefits people with autism. It benefits everyone, but I think it benefits even more because it just helps to basically ground them and helps calm down the nervous system. And basically just helps get all that sort of excess energy, sort of the fight and flight thing on constantly. Just helps to completely calm it down. But I went through a really hard life before I got to that point. I bullied at school a lot. I didn't fit in. I couldn't express myself. It's all the kind of classic symptoms really. I got diagnosed with dyspraxia when I was 3.5, but had like a speech impediment. I couldn't really talk properly, and I had a stammer. And then so I had like speech therapy, and I got diagnosed with dyspraxia, but no one knew what it was, so I kind of went to normal public school. So I kind of got bullied at school a lot, and there was no allowances made for me then. There was no special schools then. So things have moved on a lot now. There's a lot more awareness and a lot more help. Because back then there wasn't really any help, and I didn't even know about it. Teachers didn't know about it. My parents decided to keep it from me because no one knew about it. They didn't want it used as an excuse. They're quite old-fashioned and old school, so I can't understand where they're coming from. But I would rather know it would have helped understand. As anyway, I went to uni at 18. I had a dyslexia test to get extra time in exams. And then I got dyspraxia as well. And I started looking up what it was, and it described all the symptoms I had. And then I had to sort of piece that it wasn't my fault, because the whole life was criticised and put down. It was really hard at home and at school. Then basically university was the kind of start of a turning point, because I started talking then. I didn't really talk before that. At school I just studied academically. I was really good at maths, science and computers and anything technical. So I excelled at all of the technical things. Generally finding complex things easy and easy things hard. It's kind of inverse to most people. And I sort of say it's like having instead of having the social chip, you have like the technical chip instead. So both maths and science and computers find really easy, but when you're talking, like this social stuff is really hard. Like I couldn't do this a few years ago. I couldn't even talk to anyone one-on-one who would make eye contact. I was completely. You could tell I was autistic a few years ago. I couldn't I better just be, I don't know, in the corner somewhere, rocking somewhere probably. But that's what's really helped. And then when I get tired or like ill, and it kind of makes the symptoms worse. And right now, just so you know, I'm really tired, and I had a reflexology earlier. I sat down, so it's quite hard this, but because of the yoga, it really helps. It helps me kind of rather focus and sort of stay grounded and keep my attention just about. I'm going to lay down after this. And normally these presentations I have like a slideshow, so I can it's more structured, which is kind of good for people with autism. So I can remember what I'm saying. I don't repeat myself. That's quite another symptom. You kind of repeat yourself and lose track of what you're saying and go off on tangents. It's like a tree. You kind of go off on a tree, and then you kind of maybe eventually get back to the original point, and then completely lose what you're talking about. So you have to bear with me because I'm doing this. I'm just trying to give you a bit of understanding. Like this is a lot more challenging. It's probably quite hard for some people anyway, but it's really hard for me doing on the spot without any structure, any slides. So, but hopefully you're still understanding what I'm saying. That's good. And then what I'm working on still is my confidence and self-esteem, because everything else has improved a lot, and I'm still building it up. It's rock bottom it used to be. So yeah, I went to, and also one of the things with dyspraxia and autism is sequencing things. So normally I have to slightly structure the sequence, so I might jump back and forth a little bit, but hopefully I'll get everything across. Because then after university, I then come really to the top of my field of programming and computers. I was really good at that, and I used to work for Nokia and Microsoft, and they rated me as the best contractor in the country. I used to say it's a gift and the curse I had, but I don't see it as a curse anymore, it's just a gift. But then I kind of, I was the only one taken on with just a telephone interview with Nokia, and I said I was the best contractor they've seen doing Windows Phone app and development. And I basically, what I did was just researched it for like the night before, about 3 hours doing some tutorials, and then I was the best programmer in Nokia with it, and I knew more Nokia about Windows Phone, you know, they're supposed to know about it. So that's when I started realising, you know, that I was a bit different to people. I still didn't really understand them. I didn't know about Asperger's then either. That came along a bit later on. I got another diagnosis later that I had Asperger's about 7 years ago. But then what I find now is like kind of it's helpful to find out this kind of thing, but then not to hide behind the label. It's like because you fall into that trap. So only a very short span of my life, like a year or 2 years of that, you know, it's not my fault, you know, I have this label. But then I wanted to carry on developing and improving myself, so then I carried on, doing lots of hard work, and then I found yoga really helped. That was a big transformation. I read a book called The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. So I started reading that, doing meditation and yoga at the same time. Not planned, it's just coincidence. It was like my times at university, so now, you know, you need to do this. And I found that's why I'm here, to help people with autism and kids. And then, yeah, when I was contracting, I basically gave money to the poor, to charities and things to help them, because I wasn't run by money. Most people in the spectrum aren't really run by money. They just want to be accepted and loved and understood for who they are, not trying to be changed. Society wants to keep trying to change people and fit them into boxes, but you can't put people in boxes. So people on the spectrum teach people how to get out of the box, not be put into a box. So then I kind of, I created Yoga4Autism because I saw people were still really struggling. And so a bit about that as well. We do basically training courses. We've got a foundation course, advanced course, and specialist course, which we've been running for about a year now. We train about 30 yoga teachers, and it's like a franchise. So we train yoga teachers across the country, and then open our own branch in an area to help people, the whole population. And we want to go global as well. So we want to basically help every single soul on this planet. I don't want to stop autism. I want to help everyone doing yoga. Basically, that's my goal, eventual goal. But I've got one step at a time. As Veronica says, I kind of, I'm quite...
Explain some of the symptoms that you had, like stuttering and all of that, how yoga helped you with that, and physically as well. That's quite interesting.
Yeah, as I was saying, it kind of helped, well, yeah, I used to stutter, I said earlier on, and it kind of helps ground me and helps calm the nervous system down, and just helps me better process information better, really, because most of the time it's because your fight and flight things kicked in. It's about trying to calm that down. Yeah, and like I was saying, they also do training for teachers at schools as well, and for parents and carers, so they can help bond with the child and the person they're caring with. So they have a stressful time as well, so it's kind of help them de-stress and help them bond with the person they're caring for. Yeah, so basically want to get it out everywhere. I remember now. And also on the website, there's on the homepage, if you're interested, there's a blue box for yoga teachers. If you're interested, to sign up there. And a pink box if you're interested in the classes. We also do one-on-one group work and tailored to everyone's needs. It's for all age groups as well. Yeah, and the biggest thing I say about hiding on the label, I realised that we're all one, we're all the same inside, and it doesn't really matter what kind of labels people throw at you, because only you can define yourself, and you just kind of you're free, and you don't let society put you, tell you what you should think or do or can't do this. Like they did with me, they tried saying I can't do this and this because of this label, and I've kind of proven wrong at uni. And saying I haven't seen my daughter for 3 years as well because of my Asperger's. They say that I'm not fit to be father because of that. So I'm going to court in a minute. So that's a kind of ongoing process. But I kind of like forgiving them has made me a lot stronger, kind of thing. And they say like I haven't got any empathy, but then I kind of burnt out creating Yoga4Autism, I was doing 40 days contracting to fund it, and then doing this in evening weekends. So like I had more empathy in the person who wrote this report. It's basically a psychologist wrote like a risk assessment report of me, and it's about the label for Asperger's, a textbook quotes, not about me as an individual. And it said I have no empathy, because that's what the textbook says. And this is what I'm trying to change. Is they haven't got a clue really. I'm honest, like these experts are not experts at all. They really haven't got a clue what they're talking about. We're the experts, people who actually live and experience it. They're the experts. They're the people who roles got listened to, not because you've got some degree in psychology and therefore you seem to know what you're doing and that's what the court listens to.
David,
So,
what practices in particular did you find useful in coping with your symptoms, say?
I kind of have a little routine at school. I find it all useful, but I find I do like sun salutations every day, and I find twists are really good as well. Twists are really good for centering and grounding, so coming back into the centre, and anything that's focused on grounding, and also helps with all the symptoms of anxiety, insomnia, sleep, managing emotions, how to deal with stresses in life, and one of the things I thought helped as well is the shoulder stand and the plough I do as well for bed. That really helps as well. I have like a little about 20-30 minute routine I do nearly every day, and I don't do it after a few days to a week. I start really noticing it, and then I kind of start regressing, so it kind of proves it works. It's just like everyone really, you just feel it more because everything's kind of cracked up a little bit.
You do much breath work?
I meditate every day on the way to work on the tube. I kind of do like healing in myself, like cause part of that thing when I burn out, I kind of try to recharge and energise myself. So I breathe in smiley faces and hearts into my adrenal glands into my heart, and breathe in the central sun and the great and the core crystal into my heart as well, and flood the body with light, and then kind of just send love into the tube and things. It's quite good. I wear a suit, go to work in Canary Wharf for KPMG now. I sit in a suit, like meditating, holding my crystals, and everyone looks at me kind of thing. And then I get off and then I kind of go cloak, and then I kind of go into work. And I kind of meditate on my desk sometimes as well, on the ground. I'm in like a skyscraper, so I don't really like being so high up. I like being close to the ground, so I need to do that. Sometimes just go to the loo and do meditation there as well. So it really helps. Definitely meditation and yoga, and then also just being mindful as well. And just the biggest thing is, like Eckhart Tolle really helped me, just being present and being here and now, and not worrying about future, might not happen or past can't change, and just being here and now and not resisting what is. That's what causes suffering. Like my daughter, that's what got me through it. Eckhart Tolle got me through that, because I wouldn't be here now probably. I've tried anything in my life before. I've been through a lot of trauma in my life, lesser things, and if it wasn't for that book, I wouldn't have had a transmute all that pain to consciousness, and that really helped me grow and really put me on my path. So that's what really, really helps. So I really recommend that book a lot. The Power of Now, that's what I kind of practice. I just always stay in my heart center, just feel me in the energy field, and that's what I do on the tube and that work. When people are losing their heads and stuff, and I just kind of sit there smiling, and people sometimes ask me when things go wrong, why am I stressed and stuff, and I'm like, why does it matter? And they get hot. They don't care. Like, of course they care, but it's just a job. It's just what does it matter, And I talk about stuff, meditation at work, and people are awakening more and more now, and it's like surprising when people think I know about it. I mentioned yoga. I'm completely open about it, and initially when I went through it, people were like, "Oh, looked at you funny, like, oh, why are you doing that for women or whatever?" And now people are like, "Oh, I've tried that," or they talk about the chakras or things and that, and it's quite interesting. Has anyone got any more questions? Sorry.
Has there been any research done on what happens neurologically in the brain when autistic people with autism do yoga? A lot, because Nicole. A lot of it is not necessarily around yoga as we know it, but in terms of how movement helps the brain integrate new neural messaging services and relieve certain symptoms, there's quite a lot.
Right, okay. How about meditation? Has there been any research into meditation?
There might be, I don't know about that. That would probably be more Nicole's kind of side, because she does that side and I do physical work.
Yeah.
She was
Nicole here?
No, mental health.
I hope she's. Yeah, so that's the next year we're hoping to do a workshop. That's what's going to liaise with Nicole and Uma. Like, it'd be good to do the workshop or demonstration class. We come to the Yoga show, we do it there. Like, go on the website, on the homepage, there's a video of me doing my full tour, and we've also got some clips of the open class we're going to put up there soon. So we could do that, and I'm going to do my full talk next year, hopefully, because it's growing more and more. People are realising autism, and people have got to listen. So they're here to teach people to get out of their box and make society change, stop it being rigid.
If you're finding out more, the website is really comprehensive. It's got loads of David's talks and it's got loads of information.
Yeah.
You can always then email us and ask more questions.
Yeah.
And the trainings are really well, you know, we did want to offer them originally for free, and if in the future we do get some funding, we will be offering, you know, it for free. But at the moment we are running it as Watford, and we will be having one in Manchester in November. Fingers crossed.
Yeah. And anyone's interested in becoming a yoga teacher, because it's for yoga teachers and for non-yoga teachers as well. And
teachers, SEMPOs, anybody who's working with autism will benefit. Because the training is you don't need to know that much about yoga poses. You might not need it.
Because that whole spectrum thing, it's quite arbitrary, isn't it?
yeah.
It's like political ones that
The
you
reflex yoga that
diagnose.
I'm doing is the adult, normal adult.
But
Like the mild version of it.
I'm really Watford, so I'm coming.
Yeah. Yeah, I just want to get everyone doing it and just spread awareness of it. So, and I bet other people as well at the shows. We go to the autism shows as well, and there's a couple of people who are on the spectrum too found yoga, and they exactly the same story I have. Like, they just completely transformed their life and just get off the drugs, basically.
Year on year, you are changing.
Yeah.
So
You know,
much.
this.
Well, 2 years ago when I first met you, and it's kind of a testimonial.
Camera, it's in the camera.
Sharing,
Yeah.
but you were in chaos. Do you remember? Because you couldn't touch down, and the change in you now,
Yeah.
it's extraordinary, David. You are an absolute living example of what can be done.
Yeah, yoga's a miracle, like for everyone. And the key is grounding. That's the thing why they're all up here, and I was quite on my path of healing. I've been in yoga for years, but people haven't never done yoga. That's why they're bouncing off the walls and they're bashing their head against the wall and rocking, because they've got this extra energy. And the higher chakras are lit up. It's the opposite journey. Most people trying to raise energy up, but people in autism got to ground their energy. Their high chakras are lit up already. They're already up here. They've got to bring focus on your feet. That's what I do. I walk along with roots coming up my feet and keep focusing on my root chakra and ground. Because I don't do Kundalini yoga, because I did that once. And I was on the ceiling. I was just like pulled up here, and my head was exploded. I was like, I gave me a headache. My head was in blood vessels popped in my head. And I was like, no. I didn't feel right at all.
Not right for
I was
everybody,
just like, bringing it back down again.
What is it kind of yoga? What is it kind of yoga?
I kind of just do like hatha yoga, just kind of just physical, simple ones. But
I think that's right for you. So, as a yoga autism practitioner, one of the things that we teach is you've got to meet the child where they are and work out what works for them, because the spectrum is so wide. My favourite quote, David, is you meet a person with autism and you've met one person. So you can never. So what David does will be absolutely perfect for David, but somebody else would do something different. So you're trying to give all the skills, everything. That's why it's so that you can then choose according to
yeah. So the main word is grounding. That is the key part. Once you learn to ground. And I think they're here like a frequency gift as well for the world, because that's the thing, they like, because they're lit up here kind of thing, they actually got a higher vibration. They have to, once they ground their energy into Gaia, then it's going to help raise everyone else's vibration. This I don't normally talk about, but I could talk about it in this company. They actually have a bigger divine plan, and they're also here to change society, make people stand up and change, and stop following rigid rules and just break down the old systems and just bring about that change. It's kind of forcing it. That's why it's becoming more and more mainstream. And that's kind of, we're bringing that being more later on, but that's, I don't mention that part in autism
In
show.
this company, it's absolutely fine, but you're trying to talk to sort of teachers in this.
Yeah, I don't mention that. That part I don't mention. It's just when I hear people going about that, and I say it's a gift, and then parents get annoyed at me and they go all the crap in their pants and that it's a gift, and said, yeah, that's just because you're feeding them on foods and they're not grounded. And the IBS that I have, well, I don't really have anymore, irritable bowel syndrome, and that's just because they're constantly in the red. Like now I'm in like the green, and then when it's like stress it goes in the yellow, but when for the yoga you're constantly in the yellow red, and it just takes the teeniest thing, and that's why they're crapping their pants or bashing their head against the wall, and they're constantly stimming. It's called stimming, like self-stimulating behaviours, like rocking and tapping, doing this, and that's great, but just did some yoga, some twists and some sun salutations that is so much more effective than tapping yourself. You know? It's like I can vouch for that, and that's what most people don't realise yet. And like, and other places think they use, other treatments are good, like I've seen a lot of different treatments, like music therapy and having a heavy blanket on top of you, and all that kind of works to the point, and it's all kind of complementary, but nothing works as effective as yoga, because I've tried all of it. And they need to sort of move the body, they need to physically move the body and just connect with the ground.
Amazing.
And watch the breath. Yeah, get out here and get into the hearts, that's the key. Just like everyone, it's the same for everyone really, they're just a bit more charged up. It's just like the dynamo is just charged a bit more. And they've got more energy, and it just needs to be focused and channeled. It doesn't just go everywhere. That's, yeah, the key of it really.
Amazing.
David, I know you mentioned about practice sun salutations, for example. Is the structure and the flow of your hatha movements, is that quite important to you because of your symptoms?
Yeah, I'm quite flexible now. It gave me this different kind of thing. Like I'm not rigid as anymore. Like yeah, I do like my routine, but one of the things I've overcome as well is the OCD and ADHD as well, which is just from like being more flexible. That's really the mindfulness, I think, mostly of that, just the power of it. It kind of complements it. So I think the yoga with being mindful, and one page that really was a turning point for me was in the last parts of that book, said you are not your illness, and it's just about being different, being outside society, and sometimes that was a gift to me. I realised now, because that helped me awaken quicker and like how we like see society for what it really is, rather than being like in part of it, because I've always been the outcast. So I could just look in and I thought everyone's nuts. My whole life I was thinking, why is everyone crazy? Everyone call me crazy, and I know you're all crazy. Why are you doing this stuff? And I try to say things and I get bullied, and like, why are you doing like bullying and things? And I just didn't understand like as well. It just didn't make sense. I felt I didn't belong here at all. And then I found I wasn't alone, and that was so healing. And then going back trying to change things. And I say that OCD is been obsessed consciously about details, and this is another label, exactly the thing with society again. It's like because you're obsessive collecting stamps, or because you're interested in like watching trains, then that's a disorder. But if you're obsessed with your money, or your health, or your weight, or where you look, then that's normal, because that's what that's what the TV says. So therefore, that's fine. But I like stamps, or I don't personally like stamps. But if you like stamps, then or like yoga, I'm obsessed with yoga. Then that's a disorder. It's like it's not. And the same with autistic spectrum disorder. It's autism spectrum diversity. Just, everyone's diverse. Everyone's unique and good and gift for the world. And ADHD, I see attention dialed into higher dimensions, so I don't want to mention that part coming on later on. I haven't mentioned, that's not on my talk yet. So you're going to preview of this is like 2 years down the line and stuff, when people are ready to hear that.
There's a book here, mate.
I mentioned dimensions.
There's a book here.
Yeah, I've got about books.
Good.
But that'd be 2 books. The first one would be the basic, and that stuff will come in later.
I have a question.
Yeah.
I'm coming a bit late, but I'm just thinking about the resistance that I have with my son to yoga. There's the Y word. No, don't want to do that. And even we did the kids yoga this morning, when it came to relaxation, no, that's it, I'm off, I'm out. He didn't want to ground, didn't want to relax. It's a real barrier. Have you got any tips? Have you worked with children like that?
There are plenty of
Yeah.
and it's a question of finding out which one works for him.
Yeah.
But there's lots of them, and you can try them all, and then one will stick, and you'll see it instantly, and you'll go, that's the one.
Right.
It's making that fun and accessible.
The rocking, isn't it? The rocking is really good, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's the number one to try.
Right.
Because it's a lot more easy, it's not more accessible than people realise. Like the stuff. This is what I realised when I did yoga. I did normal yoga, like hatha yoga in a gym and stuff, and it's quite hard for me to follow and very big classes, and it took me a while to learn the moves. Like the dyspraxia makes it a bit harder to follow hand-eye coordination. But then when I started doing, Nicole was amazing. She's been doing this like 20 years. She's like doing special needs. She developed this program, and it's much simpler. And I so wish I had that. And it's just like, instead of doing like the complex twist, putting the leg over, it's just like just doing this normal twist, and just tapping, just coordinating and having fun, holding hands. It helps them integrate and helps their social skills as well. The normally they're quite sort of shut down.
So this is how Yoga4Autism will be different.
Yeah. So it's kind of helps. That's really simple, really basic, and I so wish I had that, a lot earlier, because it would have made a big difference.
Progress has been faster, hasn't it, David, since you've been doing Yoga4Autism yoga? It's been faster, hasn't it?
But for me,
yeah,
because I've done like the course like 3-4 times now. So it's quite good, because that's what's brilliant about this thing, is that I'm still on this journey myself. I'm just slightly further ahead. So as I learn things and evolve from it, and I can feed it back in. Nicole, amazing team. And I'm always looking for people to join the team and help grow and expand.
Totally kind of off topic, but did you ever read the book or see the film of The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Night Time?
Yeah, I read a book about, is that
the boy, Christopher, who's a 14, 15-year-old
lost
boy.
his dog or something. And
Well, the dog was killed by the neighbour with a fork, but he had severe Asperger's, and his thing when he was stressed was primary numbers.
Yeah.
He would repeat, and go up to, 5-6 digits.
Yeah, I think I remember that because it had a map and something, and then when I read it, really related to that a lot, because it's the way the stream of thought, that's the way I used to think, kind of thing. And it's kind of still there; it doesn't really go away, but it just kind of helps. Mainly for the grounding and helping to relate to people, and just getting how other people work, because everything's kind of different anyway. Everyone has that thing trying to gel with people. But just why I really connect with computers, because I'm very logical, but then I'm also more right brain as well. I'm very creative, so I'm lucky at that. I'm not just stuck in my left brain. So I've got the analytical skills. That's why I'm really good at my job. But then I've got the creativity as well.
I love that thing which you said, David, about how the computer's world makes sense because it has set rules.
Yeah.
But society doesn't make sense because
there
are no rules, and if they are, everybody ignores them anyway.
For example, I used to have like my past relationships be a certain context, something happen, and then I'll do something and I'm not aware of it, or I should have said something or not done something, and then later on I'll get it in the ear, because it's like, oh, why did you say that or not do this? And I'm like, what do you mean? I'm completely oblivious to it, or it might have happened for days, and I'm completely oblivious. I'm like, what have I done? You remember this one, really? And I'll just be like, that's news. And then I learned that rules like a rigid warbird, and then I've got really good memory, so I remember that rule exactly. And then 3-4 months later, the same conditions will happen. And then I apply the rule. I go, okay, I'll do this, and then it'll be completely out of place again. and then
Relationships, man.
Yeah, and then she go, and then we're like, oh, why did you say that? Because I say, I'll be going to say, because 3 months, 2 days ago at this time, I've completely forgotten it. Like, what are you talking about? You said this quote, it'd be exactly like a video. I've got video memory, so I remember that stuff really well.
Social rules as well, and like, Mum, is it okay to say hell? I'm like, well, if you're with me and if you're with certain people, yes, but if you're with your gran, no. I have to think, because that's what he's doing. He's learning those rules.
Yeah, it's very hard, because I said what I said earlier on. Instead of having the social chip, you have the technical chip, and I say society always changes the context and stuff. So there's a minefield, like a massive database now of these rules, but it's still like learning kind of thing. But that's what's really hard. But then you can give me any complex problem, because you break it down. That's a problem. When I go into I do something simple like shopping and things. It used to be more of a problem, not anymore. Then I try and break it down and overanalyze it, and I get like, if I haven't got my cheese or whatever I'm buying or whatever it was, get really stressed out, or my routine's interrupted, another meltdown. That's just to be massive. I was always constantly having a panic attack, or continuously, because we're always in yellow and red. But then if you give me any complex problem, like, just see the parts of it, it's just the components of it, which is why I'm really good at my job. And I don't see the complexity, and same with science and things, and maths, it's just numbers, it's just logic, it's really, really simple. And I'm really sorry. Sorry, I don't mean to say, but to me it's really simple. It's just logic. But the variables of the social interaction is really complex because people keep changing the variables. It's not enough constants. When you have maths and science, not math, computers, they do what they're told to do. It's just binary.
Sound like a regular bloke down the pub to me now.
Yeah. It's just when you keep changing the variables and you don't tell them the rule book either. You don't tell them the variables. It's like, well, how are you going to guess?
That's something I probably don't know about autism as a condition, but I think that people who are not autistic, they sort of sense if it's a taboo thing to do something. You may not know that you're not meant to interfere with the fire or go and throw your old dinner on the fire. You may not know that because it's not written anywhere.
Yeah.
But you'd sort of sense, I don't know if I should do that. Is that all right to do? And you get a sort of feel if it's all right to do or not. Not because it's a rule.
Yeah.
So on the autistic spectrum, do people who have that, can they sense the sort of feel of whether something's okay?
Sometimes, but me, I found that's kind of grown as I've got older. Kind of developed that.
Yeah.
Like it's better now, but it used to be really hard. Like biggest thing for me, sense when to start and end the conversation. Like I used to just talk at people.
Yeah.
I never used to talk at all. And then when I started talking, I never shut up. And I was just like, blah, blah, blah. And I'd just be like, oh my God. And I'd be like, I just go to work and people ask me how I am. And instead of saying fine, which is like another point, what's the point of asking me if I'm just going to lie? And I give my life story, like, and I'd be like trying to get out. Half an hour later, trying to get out of thing. They ask me how I am, so I was telling you how I am.
Yeah.
And then I just didn't understand that was another rule. It's like so it's just like it's just like a protocol exchange. It's like. Okay, I'm going to say, when you say this, I say fine. And I was just like, what's the point of asking me?
Exactly.
It's really logical. I don't understand why you're asking me if you just don't want to hear the answer.
That's a good point.
Yeah, it's just loads of weird things like that. And that's what got so confusing with social interactions, to take things literally. Yeah. I mean, one time, I couldn't remember people raining cats and dogs and stuff, and I used to think, like, this is quite a long time ago now, like, that sounds really horrific. Like, like, you know, that sounds like really horrible. And other things, I used to get really, I got bored a lot, because it's just, like, took things literally. It took so long to learn all these different things. And occasionally I still won't pick up some stuff, occasionally, but you can't really tell so much now. But most of the time I just kind of just be quiet and I'll just be silently trying to process it. And I might ask, like, what's that about? But most of the time it's not really a problem. I'm kind of 95% there. I call it the emulator, kind of just emulate normal interactions.
Do it brilliantly.
It's coming along.
Better than an awful lot of people who are so-called normal. I'd rather hang out with you anytime.
Yeah. I think the key's coming from your heart. That's the thing. You have to sense, and that's why I learned to tune, sense, and feel the energy more. It's kind of get out of your head was the key, rather than trying to be like robotically pre-programmed. It's trying to come from the heart and just feel the. That's what I kind of sense the energy now. That's what I can feel when it's time to start and end the conversation. Most of the time. Like that, yeah.
Thank you very much, David.
Next year I do a proper tour. That's kind of ad hoc. Just from the heart. Thanks for listening.